Hi, welcome back to The Silent Storm. Welcome back to The Silent Storm. About how to find. We're going to talk about how to find the right therapist for you. I would recommend before you even start self-assessment. That means asking yourself a few questions. I want to go to therapy. What am I trying to get out of the therapy? I want to change through therapy, change out of therapy, or how I interact with other people. Just that you create a list of. Example, your list can include things like learning how to communicate better, working on how you see yourself, and or coping skills, just to name. It can be anything. It doesn't have to be what I said. Reading the list. If you feel overwhelmed and then don't do it. It's not a good idea for you, then don't do it. Find a therapist that is okay. If you can't think of anything, that is okay. Can't explain what you need. Go to therapy because they need help with understanding why they're going through what they're feeling or feeling what they're feeling. Yourself. To create a list if it's stressing you out. Pissed during the intake stage. Hey, I'm not sure how to explain what I'm feeling, and even express if you don't feel that way, but you want to talk to somebody. Help you work through that, because maybe you're not depressed. Maybe you just need in your situation or what you're going through, and as well. So what therapy is there for as well. Now it's time to then start. If you have health insurance, ask your insurance provider to give you a booklet. That are covered under your insurance. There is an affordable option. Therapists will charge you a discounted rate based on what you can give them financially. For $50 to $60, it may be cheaper or it might be more expensive. Therapist sliding scale. Want to know about the therapist sliding scale, and they'll let you know whether or not if they have a sliding scale. And arrange for the session, and they'll be very upfront and say, sometimes the website will tell you, and what is the range of it. Because a lot of therapists are in the business of helping you, and they need to make an income, but a lot of them, from my experience, are passionate about their jobs. Make sure that you get the services you need. There are tons and tons of therapists out there that are willing to help. Understanding sometimes the in-office visits might be a little bit more expensive than telehealth. Another option that you can look into, a phone call, a Zoom call, or if they have a portal. Health insurance provided, you can always look up the site. That has a list of Black girls, and that has a list of, all you have to do is put in your email and zip code. In your neighborhood. It's within your neighborhood. You can also go to ZocDoc and search therapy or a therapist near me. Options as well. Give you a lot of options as well. Recommend that you read the reviews that they have about them. To be talking to, who you're going to be talking to, especially if you're paying per session. You don't click with someone that you don't click with. Into more than one therapist while you're searching. And you're the boss. You're going to be able to schedule a 15-minute information session, and in that session, explain what you want to work on and ask how would they help you work through your issues, especially if you're paying out of pocket, because who wants to waste their money on a full session when you guys think to ask your potential therapist what style of therapy that they're doing. of therapy that they're doing, because there are a lot of therapy styles out there. If you've never been to therapy before, it might be overwhelming to try and research that information on your own. And explain what is it that they do exactly, and have a therapist as well. So this way, for some reason, if it didn't work out with the therapist, let's say no longer working within the field, continue that style of therapy or try something new. Style of therapy it is, what style of therapy it is, and you're not starting all over. You have a foundation of what you want out of a therapist, or maybe what you don't want out of a therapist, situation altogether. Kind of avoid that situation altogether. If they're seeing a therapist as well, because they have their own issues that they have to deal with, and to hear problems might be heavy on them, and you want to make sure your therapist is balanced too. And they're human, and they might say something. You can let them know. If you feel uncomfortable and it's not confrontational, you can end the session in that moment. And suffer through it, because that's not what therapy is. I want to stress this. They should never pressure you into something. If this is a topic, you say, hey, I don't want to talk about it. Shut it down. They shouldn't continue, especially if you've expressed. They shouldn't keep going on. It's brought up down when a certain topic is brought up. Would say it's time to find a new therapist, because they're not picking up on cues that you could pick up. Because I'm pretty sure if you're having a conversation with someone and they shut down on a certain topic, subject, and these are trained professionals, and if they're missing cues like that, they might miss in the future. So I would always and Black women, don't be afraid to have a non-Black therapist either. They can offer you a different perspective. Speak from a personal standpoint, and was very helpful. They made me realize that some of the behaviors that normalized because of my environment have normalized because story and shared a similar story, and they have normalized it and try to reinforce that belief in me. Some therapists do have bias. She was that when that's a therapist that you're talking to, you reinforce that negative bias. And I mean never into your therapy session, personal beliefs into your therapy session. Example, because the Black community a lot of times are like, but that's your mother. You have to always forgive your mother. Forgiving my mom. I ever see myself forgiving my mother, something like, but that's your mother. To get up and never see them again, because being your mother takes precedent or comes first. That's not over your mental health. That's not an approach that a therapist should take. Any tips on finding the right therapist? Please leave a comment down below. Has helped you. Explain how therapy has helped you and into therapy outside of this video. Let me know down in the comment section. I will see you in the next video.